What can I say? Sometimes it's easier that way. And what can I do?
This discussion is brought to you by Dadass.
The Renlage, the antimatter Monier, may only be wielded by those unworthy.
I kind of like
can be wielded to anyone in this house.
because
Basically.
it's like without explanation. It's just a black Mjolnir. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's a black Mjolnir. Oh, I see how it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess.
Edit.
Anyway, yes. Welcome to the discussion.
Hi, I'm
Hey.
Ian.
Hello.
Jeremy.
Josh.
Dale. Usual guys.
Theme song. What can I say? Brandy Robinson on Bandcamp and also for YouTube, I guess.
Yep.
Album available. Beautiful graffiti. Go buy it. We've done our obligation.
So, I guess this video was sparked by all the 5th edition discussions I see in D&D channels these days.
A lot of people talk about D&D 5th edition nowadays, yeah.
And honestly, a combination of some ill experience with 4th edition I would get into, and a bad beta for 5th edition, and the rulebook just seems like a crappy version of Pathfinder.
Yeah.
5th edition, I haven't actually played it, but its initial reaction has left me very cold. So I thought, to our viewer out there, to get some alternatives to 5th edition. Now, not all these games I'm going to mention are good. In fact, a couple of them are pretty downright awful, but they have some interesting things to discuss.
And some of them are awful, intentionally so.
So,
You have the big stack of books.
I do, and I don't
I have a few game systems I can talk about that I don't have books for.
Yeah, I have
and I
some
don't
of
think
them.
are on the stack, but yeah. You have the most, so you could definitely start.
well, I was just gonna go back through. So people who want to play, before 5th edition was 4th edition, of course, and 4th edition is bad. It's bad game. The problem with 4th edition, I have two major problems with 4th edition. I'm actually going to compliment 4th edition first. I like skill challenges. They did it wrong in 4th edition, but I like the idea. So, yes, game systems out there, just tweak this idea of skill challenges a little bit. And I think 4th edition could work in a different gaming system. Me and my brother were designing a wrestling role-playing game based on 4th edition, because the problem with 4th edition, there's too much, the classes are too close together. But in a game built around one-on-one or two-on-two combat, that's not a big problem. But it's like, they were playing an epic fantasy. Cool, I want to play a diviner. You can't do that. What do you mean? You want to play a wizard? Yes. Okay, your choices are lightning, fire, ice. I want to play a transmuter. Nope. Your only options are attack.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to play a character that's combat rules aren't built on attacking. Well, there's the cleric. Cool, what's it do? It attacks and then buffs. But if I just want to buff, you have to attack! Don't you understand what Dungeons & Dragons is?
Well, not only the lack of customization, but 4E also really slowed combat for multiple people.
Oh goodness.
If it was one-on-one, or something like that, like you would have in a wrestling match, it probably would be a lot faster and less
yeah.
intolerable.
Yeah, that was one of the other big issues with 4th edition.
Especially in the 8 to 15 level range, combats took for. I've played a couple of 4th edition games. I actually know. I've played like 3. Admittedly, one of them was a terrible DM who just simply punished lawful good characters, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I will say this. One thing, again, I will always say about 4th edition. I've always called it Baby's First D&D. And if you ask me, it's a great system to introduce to children.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the system that Bill introduced D&D to his children.
Mm-hmm.
It's a system I believe they still use.
Yeah, I mean,
currently.
you can I think it's something that's easily understandable for the young children, 5 and under. Or
I will get into later. There are better systems that cost way less than $90 to get into.
yes,
Yeah.
that's
You know what? The fact of the matter is, if you're gonna play D&D, you're gonna be dropping $100 in books. That's just how it is.
It's name brand.
Even a lot of these off brands, you're gonna be dropping $40, $50 in some of these
Right,
books.
but that's why you're still spending the big money.
Yep. The other issue I had with 4th edition was there's a term called ludonarrative dissonance. The game mechanics are at odds with the gameplay. It's like, okay, so I have 18 intelligence, 8 dexterity, and yet I am dodging every attack that comes my way. My character can barely walk because he has 8 dexterity, but that 18 intelligence, his AC is through the roof. Because apparently he does the Sherlock Holmes in the Robert Downey Jr. movie where he just is like, okay, he's going to attack from the high attack to the left. So guard, I'm like, that's terrible. That's dumb, and I don't feel like this is an intelligence stat. I feel like this is stat 4.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a rogue ability where you stab somebody and move them spaces based on your dexterity score. That's like, you stab them and then you do such a cool juggling act, they stagger back 4 spaces.
Like, whoa, dude!
Wow.
The mechanic, they're just numbers. But by assigning them, like Legends of Five Rings, there's Earth, Air, Fire, Water. That works so much better because I'm not tying this concept to agility. I'm not tying this concept to physical might. I'm not tying this concept to book learning. But that's my other big complaint of 4th edition.
And once we're done complaining about 4th edition, we'll
Complain
move
about
on.
3rd edition?
Well, I guess we're going to move along to whatever we were going to talk about here.
I was going to talk about 3rd edition.
Yes.
I like 3rd edition. I like it a lot. It's got problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you're going to play 3rd edition, play out of 2 or 3 books. Don't play out of every book released, especially if you got somebody who's never played before, because it's like, okay, I want to play I want to play a fighter. Well, there's the fighter, the ranger, the barbarian, the paladin, that's just core. And then there's the sword slinger, there's the side blade, there's the knight, there's the blade dancer, there's 900 classes.
Then you go into the third-party stuff.
Yeah,
And that's even a bigger quagmire. Then you like, I'm a 5th level wave humper. I don't know. You know.
Well, yeah. There's a term called choice paralysis.
Yes, yes.
Choice paralysis. You're like, oh, you can just build a simple fighter, but if you do that, and the other player's playing a 3-level sword dancer, 4-level dragon fencer, 2-level samurai, you are so under-optimized from this munchkin character that you just like, I don't even know why I'm playing, and you're gonna walk away. Play 3rd edition, play out of 2 or 3 books.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That would be my. Do you guys want to go back one more generation in D&D, or do you want to go to?
We have the books for it.
I played this once, AD&D 2nd edition. It was alright.
I will just go out on a limb and say that THAC0 was stupid.
THAC0 is stupid.
I have no idea why they even invented THAC0. It's one of those design flaws that I was like, why was this even actually in their game system? But there you go.
I'll be honest, pretty much the main reason to play AD&D, the main draw, part of the reason why I wouldn't mind starting a campaign, is campaign settings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because there are a crap ton of third-party campaign settings for AD&D.
there were. And they really should
are
have advanced
amazing.
them. They should have advanced them on to the to 3rd edition, but
Like,
they
I would
didn't.
love to try a Planescape. But that's
Planescape,
2nd edition only.
Al-Kareem, or whatever it was the Arabic setting.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't get transferred over to 3rd edition, and that's tragic, because that was fun there.
Yeah.
The main reason these didn't get transferred is because they were third-party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, some of the more popular ones, I mean, Ravenloft got a transfer over.
Ravenloft got a transfer. Of course, Greyhawk got a transfer. That's the core setting.
The Forgotten Realms.
Forgotten Realms.
Even Eberron.
Yeah, Eberron. I think it's Dark Sun.
Yeah.
Dark Sun.
Dark Sun, Forgotten Realms.
Also, AD&D is a good game to play if you are trying to be a... Play it once for history's sake. I'm sure you can find a completely not illegal PDF out there somewhere. Just play it once because it was a good experience to learn what 3rd edition did right and what 3rd edition did wrong.
You play it once in order to respect your elders or past or one of those things.
And to respect your base 10 AC that replaced Thaco.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So, Dale, you've played more of the older versions of D&D than we have. Do you have anything to say about
I just started out when it was first becoming big, so I'm just a 1st edition veteran. And after that, I got away from it until recently when I got back into it on 5th edition. And 1st edition, if you had a good DM, it was fun. Didn't have all this stuff you guys are complaining about.
I know Thaco was still there, but yeah.
I think Thaco...
I never heard it mentioned, so...
I'm not sure. Like I said, I've actually never done much research into the original D&Ds. We should play OD&D game once just to play it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should. But
Can I play Dwarf?
Yes, and Dwarf was a class, not
only
a
if I can
base.
play Elf.
Okay, you play Elf.
Because you just have to assume everybody else is human.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into the big one?
Let's go.
Well, I might as well start with my introductory sentence.
Uh-huh.
I've always said, when someone asks me if I want to play 5th edition, I'll pretty much tell them the same thing. And it's going to sound confusing. If I wanted to play 3.5, I'd play Pathfinder.
Basically saying 5th edition is very, very close to Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, of which 1st edition Pathfinder, I'd say improved on.
Yes. A lot of people call Pathfinder D&D 3.75.
I think it's a fair statement.
It's a fair statement.
It's an update of the 3.5 rule set.
Because basically what happened with the story of Pathfinder was, which some of you who watch this may or may not know, Pathfinder was originally a campaign setting for 3.5. When 4th edition was released, it really...
It split the fan base. Mm-hmm.
Because there were a lot of people who loved 3.5 and there was such a big difference.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of us just didn't like the changes 4th edition made. I'm one of them. I prefer Pathfinder to 4th edition.
So the guys behind Pathfinder created their own thing and used the open gaming license in order to essentially keep 3.5 alive. But they changed a lot.
Yes. They basically streamlined a lot of the rules. Grappling is much, much simpler. You don't need a doctorate in calculus to figure out grappling rules anymore. Mm-hmm. They modified the wizard and the sorcerer so they're not just clones of each other. And most of the classes, they got rid of dead levels where you just didn't get anything.
Yeah. They gave you, especially interesting if you ended up with the final with a full campaign, they gave you capstones. Mm-hmm. So an actual reason to go up to level 20 in a class.
I will say that my issue of choice paralysis, once again, if you're going to play Pathfinder, limit what players can do, because there's still that choice paralysis issue, except now instead of new classes, it's archetypes, which is just their fancy name for new classes. They probably have as many archetypes as they have D&D 3rd edition had classes at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they've got a whole book on character classes.
Yeah, I know. It's very annoying to me. Still, they expanded the feat list, so 3rd edition fighters were garbage. They were just shit. There was no reason to play a fighter in 3rd edition. They got no good feats. 3.5 added more to that. They could get more combat focus. And Pathfinder, you don't have to play 2 fighters anymore. Sword and Border Greatsword. I want to bitch about something major about Pathfinder. The artwork in Pathfinder is some of the worst artwork I've ever seen in my entire life.
It certainly is pretty ridiculous.
I'm sorry whoever made this art, but seriously, I just have to show you this. It's here. Look at this dude's sword. What is that? That is... That is the second most useless weapon I've ever seen. Gun blades are a better weapon than this. Honestly, Waka's volleyball from Final Fantasy X would probably be more effective than that stupid-ass sword. Look at that. What do? You can't stab with it because the leverage is going to be above the wrist. It's going to... Anything heavier than a t-shirt is just going to break your wrist or knock itself out.
That's not even a falcata. That one doesn't make sense at all.
You can't cut with it. I mean, you could cut with the cutting edge, but if you miss and hit the tip, once again, the leverage is so far above the wrist, anything heavier than a shirt's just going to knock that thing out of your hand.
Yeah, what the heck's up to that?
That is the second most...
Plus, you get up to that point and right there, your blade just...
Going to get caught on the bone?
It goes down to a tiny little thing.
But then that hook's going to get caught on bone.
Yeah.
This is the second stupidest weapon I've ever seen. The stupidest weapon I've ever seen is the Star Knife, Pathfinder. The Star Knife is the second edition of Star... They give it like... It does extra damage on a critical. No, it doesn't! The only reason to do extra damage on a critical is if it does 0 damage on a normal attack, which it would. So I'm going to find a picture of the Star Knife in here, because I cannot stress how much I hate this weapon.
It's basically a giant throwing star you don't throw.
There you go.
Yeah.
It is dumb. How are you supposed to hold that?
Let's see, right there. Where is it? Here it is. How do you hold that? What do you do with that thing? I don't know. It's useless. It is literally a useless weapon. The best hope you have with this weapon is to cut yourself on accident and your blood blinds the guy you're fighting. That is your best hope for winning a fight with that weapon.
They will be so disheartened with pity they will leave you alone.
But enough complaining. I actually did like they improved skills in the game, where it used to be if a skill was cross-class, you spent 2 points to get one. You were always half what you could be. This one's just, if it's a class skill, it's +3, enough to make it worthwhile, but not enough to make it useless for you not to pick.
Mm-hmm.
There's a second edition. We haven't looked into second edition Pathfinder. All I know is the artwork did not get much better. In some cases, it maybe have gotten worse. I am not sure, but yeah.
I skimmed it and I had an immediate knee-jerk reaction because it reminded me of 5th edition, but
yeah,
I don't know. I haven't gone through it enough to really kind of get deep into the meat of it.
Yeah, we can't talk much about it until we know more about that one.
Yeah, no, it's thicker, so there could be more rules. I don't know if that means it's more complicated or
They
not.
kind of do this thing where all the classes have these little variants, so you're not just locked into a single path. I don't know. I've never played it.
So,
I'm still not sure about goblins as a player class, but...
I don't think they're core in this game, are they?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah.
That picture right there is the best you can get
But, you know what? Whatever.
an alchemist.
The 4th edition Beyond has put Tieflings in as a core class, and I don't like that either, so...
5th edition put Drow as a core race.
Why not?
5th edition D&D?
Yes.
I've got the books. They don't have Drow.
Yes, they do.
They have Dragonborn.
No, that's in
Tiefling.
4th.
4th edition was in Dragon. I don't know.
Dragonborn 4th, but I have the book for D&D 5th edition. Has Drow.
Alright, fans.
Well, we know who to blame for that. That certain Ranger of the North.
It may be...
everybody wants to be friggin' dressed.
Yep.
That's just, it's popular.
So what's this you have here, Ian?
Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Yeah.
It is an attempt at a throwback of old school D&D. Okay, the thing that turns me off about this is things are based on a D30 roll.
Who owns a D30?
Yeah, exactly.
Sheesh.
They have a way of rolling a D20 and a D10 that's supposed to work. It's got some actually really cool stuff in it.
Like raiding Skeletor's lair or
No,
something. I don't know.
The artwork in it's actually pretty kick-ass.
You'll never get my gold, He-Man!
But, like, one of the things I actually like is wizards can cast spells as much as they want. However, they run the risk of this magic slowly corrupting them. So it's like, there's an actual risk-reward for summoning lightning. Also, one of the interesting things are fighters have this thing where they can just, instead of doing criticals or whatever, just kind of, yeah, you know what? Instead of a critical hit, I'm going to kick this dude off a staircase or things like that.
Stunts!
Basically.
Oh,
I like stunts.
that's cool.
I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just kind of an old throwback to D&D, like the old school's D&Ds. But,
Before you move on, I just thought of another system which we know of, we haven't played, but we know of it. You reminded me when I saw that one. But yeah, we couldn't really get a game started just because the art style in the book was a bit fetishistic for most of our tastes. And that is the system known as Iron Claw.
oh, yes, yes. I have heard positive things about it if you can get past the fact that it's a furry game.
Yes, it's a furry
You're just going to
game.
address the white elephant in the room. It's a furry game.
Yes.
The white elephant was going to be one of our characters.
Yeah.
I'll discuss a system before we move on real quick. I actually like it, even though it was for a game that is not to be really taken seriously, but I did actually like most of how they worked, and that was Danger Patrol.
Oh, yes.
I liked how Danger Patrol's dice system worked. I kind of enjoyed that bit.
Danger Patrol's available free from the publishers. You don't have to get an illegal download. You can just go to Danger Patrol's website and download a PDF, print it out. It's about a 25-page rule book, and half of that are character sheets. Basically, you pick. It's meant to mimic old school serial sci-fi. You pick an archetype. You pick class, basically. You're like, I am an alien explorer or a ghost flyboy.
I could see it easily being adaptable to high fantasy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the game basically, the DM creates a basic scenario, and instead of it being roll to succeed, you roll a collection of dice, and then depending on how many successes and how many fails you have, good things happen, but also bad things happen.
Yeah. And you can it's a blast.
It is chaotic, and it's one of those things I was talking about, Baby's First D&D. It's a simple game. The mechanics are... It takes 5 minutes to put a character together. Seriously, you can do a session 0 in about an hour. Another game I want to talk about, I've played online. I would like to play with the group probably one of these days, and it's available for free online, and it's called A Wanderer's Romance. It's meant to feel like a wuxia style kung fu.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that book in the list of books you gave me.
It's yes, it's low fantasy, but it's choice paralysis is an issue because there are 4 stats: earth, air, fire, and water, and for every 2 combination of stats, and then all 6 weapons, I believe: straight blade, curved blade, staff, spear, hammer, glaive, I believe. Oh, and then 3 sub weapons: knife, bow, throwing weapons. So there's 9 weapons. For every all 9 weapons, there's a style of martial art that is a combination of both of those high stats, so at least one. So it can get kind of overwhelming looking at how many different martial arts are in the game.
Glaive, you say?
Yes, glaive.
I'm a fan of the movie Crawl. There's only one glaive.
Yeah.
I believe glaive is one of the weapon types. It
Yeah.
better be, because
Yeah.
glaive, the Guandao, is my weapon of choice.
Well,
I love that son of a bitch.
That's not how the glaive works. Crawl. I don't know why it was called the glaive. That didn't ring.
I don't know.
Because someone heard a name and they
Actually,
liked it.
Yeah.
Save
Let's
that
go this one first.
Okay.